Please help me welcome Freddi Dogterom with her speech, The Other Kind of Smart. The Other Kind of Smart, Freddi Dogterom.
I'd had it. I took my binder, I slammed it shut, and I put it on the table and walked out with the parting words to my brand new colleagues, I've headed up to here with stupidity. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, what a way to start a new opportunity with a new employer. My emotions were running amok because my intellect was being challenged by the plethora of useless, stupid rules and regulations this organization had. I was a trained and trusted professional. They treated me as if I was a new hire on my 6th day on the job. You see, I was only smart in one way in those days. I was intellectually smart. In doing testing, we can test our IQ, and it's not an exact science, but I regularly score out between 130 and 134, which puts me in the high average rating. What does that mean? Well, it means that I can learn pretty quickly. It means that I'm pretty driven. Process improvement is something that I love to do. I love challenges because I like to make my noggin sweat. That's all it means. There's nothing I can really change about the IQ that I was born with except to use it wisely and well. However, there is another kind of smart. And if you have read this month's Toastmaster magazine, you will know about it. It's being emotionally wise. Emotional intelligence, not just cerebral intelligence. Wow, was that something that I needed to learn? For the path that I'm on with the Toastmasters program, I was required to spend 2 weeks journaling my emotions. It's great reading, but it's private. I journaled my emotions for the 2 weeks that I was on vacation. And I talked to my one sister and I said, I'm doing this project. I'm talking about my emotions. Can you give me a little bit of feedback? And she says, well, all I can tell you is that as a big sister, when we were younger, you were such a bitch. I says, well, perhaps I was driven and motivated to only want the best in you. Nope, you were a bitch. I'm happy to report roughly 30 years ago, I learned about emotional intelligence, and she no longer will reference me in that way. So for family relationships, work relationships, business relationships, how does emotional intelligence help us? Well, here's the good news. Emotional intelligence can be learned, it can be increased, it can be practiced. You're not stuck with the emotions that you're born with. As Kathy said, hallelujah for that. So how can emotional intelligence help us in many ways? Emotional intelligence is that ability to read your own emotions, figure out where you are on the plane, and to read the emotions in others and respond at an emotionally appropriate level. At that meeting, I would have handled myself so much more differently had I been in charge of my emotions. In the article in the Toastmasters magazine, it's got some really great guide and it's got some really great ideas. If you haven't read it yet, I would encourage you to do so. In the article, it says to begin with empathy. Well, the difference between empathy and sympathy is that you're not in the ditch with the sad person. You're walking along with them, holding their hand. You can feel it and share it, but you don't do it. How is this good for our businesses? You that are business owners, whether it's a solopreneurship or a bigger business. It is so important to be in tune with the emotions that you bring to the workplace every day. We're not all, cheery Susies every morning. Well, except for me. So what are your emotions? Did you and your spouse have a disagreement? Did you find the magpies taking the seed out of your bird feeder as you were on your way to your car? Or is it a really great day? Check your own emotions, because then you will be in a place where you can connect with your employees and engage at their level. If you're an employee, same thing. Check your emotions. Find out where you are. And if you know that there is a stressful situation coming up, the greatest tip that I can give you, whether you're a student at school, an employee, or own your own business, is always, 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 always build time into your schedule to process your emotions, either positive or negative, before you go on from that event. I learned that lesson the very first time I tried the accredited speaker program. I had built an hour into my schedule. As to whether I was a rock star or whether I was a complete dud, I was going to spend an hour processing my emotions. And so after the presentation, I went up to my hotel room in Las Vegas and I processed the emotions. I was not successful, so I had the opportunity to cry in quiet. I had the opportunity to shriek in solace, and I got all of that emotion out, and then I went down and I was professional. When I was successful, I did exactly the same thing. I went, yeah, I did the happy dance. I did every inappropriate happy thing you can imagine. I hugged my pillow. I shrieked to the world. And then I went out and was professional. So if you're at a job interview and an employee interview, if you've got something stressful coming out immediately after, always, always in your program, in your schedule for the day, build in that emotional processing time. Emotional intelligence, IQ, EQ, AEIOU, it doesn't matter. Own it, build it, be the best you can. Because with that level of emotional intelligence and your ability to engage, you're going to be a stellar student, a magnificent employee, and the boss of choice, Mr. Toastmaster.